This video is going to get you triggered. We're diving into one of the most controversial cruise topics out there. Yep, it's even more controversial than whether you say Caribbean or Caribbean. That's right, we're talking about tipping etiquette on a cruise. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say what I've discovered will make you rethink your whole philosophy. Because honestly, after digging into this topic, I've done a complete 180 from what I used to believe. How we handle tipping is now completely different from when we first started cruising. I'll tell you exactly what we do and why at the end of this video. But first, let's lay a little groundwork. Tipping used to be simple. Cash in hand, a handshake, a thank you. Early cruise passengers recognized exceptional service with discretionary cash tips handed directly to cabin stewards, servers, and bartenders. There was no official policy, just a gesture of goodwill. But in the late 1990s, cruise lines began changing course. Automatic gratuities, fixed daily charges added to every passenger's onboard account, gradually became the industry norm. Today, these charges range from $15 to $25 per person per day, adding hundreds of dollars onto the cost of your cruise. This change was promoted as a way to make tipping more consistent and equitable. Having a general pool of gratuities that is distributed amongst the entire crew ensures fair compensation for everyone, even those behind the scenes. Cruise lines also touted that this change is easier on their customers as it eliminated the need to carry cash. But not everyone is on board. Online forums like Reddit and Cruise Critic are filled with heated debates over the ethics and effectiveness of automatic tipping. One of the biggest sticking points is the lack of transparency around how gratuities are actually distributed. When passengers see a crew appreciation charge added to their bill, they often assume it goes directly and in full to the staff members who made their vacation memorable. Cruise lines claim that these pooled tips are shared among a broad range of crew, from front-facing service staff like cabin stewards and dining teams to behind-the-scenes employees such as dishwashers and the laundry staff. On the surface, this seems fair, but passengers are left wondering, does the crew actually receive the full amount? Cruise lines give vague reassurances, and crew members themselves are often contractually barred from speaking openly about pay structure. So we set out to uncover the truth, or at least as much of it as we could. For starters, gratuities charged to your shipboard account do not go directly to your room attendant, your dining server, or your bartender. This is true for both automatic daily gratuities and extra discretionary tips added to your receipt. Carnival's brand ambassador, John Heald, addressed this recently in a Facebook post. If you write a gratuity on the receipt, that gratuity is shared equally between all the bartenders on the ship. So, who is included in the gratuity pool? On most cruise lines, it appears that gratuities are pooled on a sailing-by-sailing basis. In other words, all the gratuities collected during one voyage are tallied and distributed among all the crew who work that specific cruise. But not always. Holland America states that their crew appreciation charges are pooled in order to recognize the many team members throughout our fleet. Princess Cruise is even more explicit. All of the crew appreciation and service charge payments made by all guests on all ships in our fleet are pooled. In other words, depending on the cruise line, your tips might not go to the crew members who serve you directly or even worked on your ship. Faced with opaque policies and uncertain distribution, some cruise passengers are taking matters into their own hands. Since a gratuity is by definition voluntary, many cruisers visit the guest services desk to remove or reduce the daily charges and instead hand out cash tips directly to individual crew members. However, critics argue that this undermines the system that supports the back-of-house crew. If too many guests opt out of automatic gratuities, it could reduce earnings for the staff who depend on those pooled funds. But is this really the case? Or just a guilt-inducing narrative that benefits cruise companies more than crew? Rumors have long been circulated that gratuities are used by cruise lines to offset their own labor cost, rather than directly boosting crew pay. According to some sources, Many crew members have a fixed salary in their contract. In this system, employee earnings stay the same regardless of how much is tipped, because gratuities are simply used to fulfill that guaranteed wage. It's the cruise line that ends up paying more when guests remove the automatic charges and gratuities fall short. Several anonymous Royal Caribbean employees have shared screenshots of their pay statements online, appearing to support this claim. You can see how the automatic gratuity is deducted from the base pay in this example. Of course, cruise lines don't publish details of employee contracts, leaving much to speculation. Still, official statements offer some clues. Princess Cruises, for example, says pooled tips are distributed throughout the year in the form of compensation, including bonuses. Norwegian Cruise Line notes their staff is paid through a combination of salary and incentive programs that your service charge supports. So, while the full picture remains murky, there's some evidence to suggest that cruise lines may indeed be relying on guest generosity to cover basic crew compensation. Even if we give cruise lines the benefit of the doubt when it comes to distributing gratuities, questions still remain about the proper tipping protocol on board. Cruising is a global experience, drawing passengers and crew from a wide range of cultural backgrounds, and with that comes varying expectations around gratuities. This often leaves us guests unsure. Are the automatic tips charged by the cruise line enough? Should I give extra cash to crew members we interact with most, like our cabin steward or dining room servers? And what about bartenders? Most cruise lines already add an automatic service charge, usually 18%, to all bar and dining purchases. Is it necessary to tip beyond that? Some well-known influencers have tried to bring clarity to this issue. Matt from the Royal Caribbean blog, for example, has shared videos outlining his own tipping habits. But judging by the comments many viewers have left, his suggested amounts are way out of line with the average cruiser. After all, cruising is no longer a luxury reserved for the wealthy. For many working-class families, it's an affordable way to enjoy a taste of the high life, if only for a week. And for us, tipping remains a gray area. Sure, we want to be generous, but an extra $100 or more per day for a family of 4? That adds up fast. And yes, cruise crew work long hours, but they're also provided with housing, meals, and uniforms in addition to their salary. They don't have typical living expenses while on board. Their biggest costs are Wi-Fi and small personal items. Many crew renew their contracts year after year, which suggests that their job, though tough, pays competitively for their home country. With all the debate around tipping, some cruise lines are adapting. For instance, Princess offers their Plus and Premier packages, which include gratuities. Regent Seven Seas and Virgin Voyages include tips in the fare and discourage cash tipping. MSC and Norwegian have rebranded gratuities as a service charge, stating outright that it's part of employee wages. At least they're being transparent. Well, I promised I'd let you know our solution to this dilemma. Back when we first started cruising, we didn't question the system. We left our automatic gratuities in place and even gave our room attendant a little extra cash. In fact, I once called out people for removing their gratuities in one of our early videos. But after reading the feedback and digging into the tipping controversy, I've completely changed my stance. Now, we remove our automatic gratuities on every cruise, and instead, we hand out cash tips directly to the people who made our trip special. I'll admit, the first time I asked guest services to remove the gratuities, I felt awkward. But the staff handled it professionally. No questions asked. Now, it's just part of our routine. Honestly, I prefer it this way. It feels good to hand a tip directly to someone and know it's going into their pocket, not into some vague tipping pool. We still use the cruise line's daily gratuity amount as a baseline on how much cash to hand out. I have heard some rumors that crew members are required to turn in their cash tips, but Carnival's brand ambassador, John Heald, recently cleared that up. He said that Carnival does not require crew to surrender any cash gratuities. They keep 100% of what they're given. So for now, we're sticking with our approach. Okay, you heard me out. Now go ahead and let me have it in the comments. Should tipping be a reward for great services given after the fact? Or should it be part of a sustainable wage structure funded by the passengers? Let's keep the conversation going in the comments. I know this topic gets heated, but that's exactly why it's worth talking about. In fact, we love talking about controversial subjects. In this video, we talk about whether Carnival deserves all the criticism cast its way, and in this one, we talk about getting snubbed on princess cruises. Check them both out. Until next time, remember, no matter what cruise line you sail on, no matter what destination you sail to, adventure awaits.